Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet. Lakers driven by your Southern California Honda dealers. I'm Chris McGee. Big game. James Worthy met a world peace. We got Trudell and Allie Clifton down at Crypto.com Arena handling the post-game interviews. Good stuff to break down tonight, right? AD returns. That's the big story. Of course, the debut of Rui Hachimura, which went very well. And, of course, the Lakers get the win before they head out on the 5-game trip to the East Coast, starting with Boston on Saturday. Good to get the season series sweep of the Spurs. Wasn't always pretty, but it all worked out great. Before we get to the comments, let's go downtown because AD, for the first time in a while, with Mike Trudell.
All right, Anthony. Well, it's certainly good to see you back on an NBA court. It's been since December 16th. How'd you feel, man?
No, I feel great. Felt good on the floor. Foot feels fine. Good to be out there, with the guys battling. It was good because, it was a close game. We really had to battle, until the last maybe 4 or 5 minutes. So it was a good test for me going into this road trip. But overall, man, I'm happy to be back on the court with these guys battling, man. And it's a long 5.5 weeks. So feels good to come back, get a win, and ultimately just be back on the floor with these guys supporting.
It's been a couple weeks now where we were getting that kind of daily update, right? First it's individual workouts, then it's with the team, then it's running up and down. All of these hurdles that you had to cross, how did you get through that mentally, and what was that like for you?
The team, the guys, just being in the locker room with these guys, being on the road, them guys coming on off days to watch me play pickup, knowing that they got my back. It was a long 5 weeks, but it was also a quick 5 weeks. When you got a supporting cast like this, we're staying together. We're a very tight-knit group, and like I said, I'm just happy to be back on the floor. These guys had my back, been in my corner, coaching staff, organization. So whatever I needed to make this rehab happen pretty quickly, they gave me. So it was a real good rehab, and able to come back, feel good on the court.
Yeah, we know that you can't replicate NBA basketball without actually playing NBA basketball, and it looked like the first couple minutes, right, you're just maybe feeling it out, but then you started to look like Anthony Davis, and so you must have felt like that.
Yeah, anytime you come back that first game, first practice, whatever, you always kind of tender. You want to test it out, see how it feels, like you say, in live action. You can kind of test it out during pickups and things like that, but in the real game where it matters, where you don't know what other guys are doing, that's the ultimate test. And, for me, that first 30 seconds to a minute, I just wanted to see was I feeling anything or was anything going to flare up. And, once I didn't feel anything, my mom was like, all right, it's time to go. And, that's when I was able to play my game.
And you feel good right now, and then I'll stop asking you about it.
I feel great, Mike. I feel great.
Appreciate it, Eddie.
Thank you.
All right, Anthony Davis.
Right,
listen, let's start there, okay? The Lakers get the win. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but AD just talked to Mike. It's kind of a lot of what you guys said in the pregame. When you come back from an injury, there's that testing out period. There's that mental hurdle you have to get over, not wanting to get hurt, maybe not hitting the floor, making sure you can push off the right way. AD said once he kind of got through that big game, but it was go time, and he kind of told himself, let's get it going. I mean, listen, 21 points, 12 rebounds, 4 blocks. Was it his cleanest game? Was it a 50-point game? No, but man, is it nice to have him back. And it just looks different when he's on the floor.
Yeah. The one thing that stands out to me are the 4 blocks. He got 4 blocks, and I counted. He must have altered 4 or 5 others that he didn't get. So, and the 1 steal, and there was times when San Antonio were in the paint, when AD was around, they kicked it back out. Those are big-time assets to the game that he brings. The block shots, his presence. When a shot blocker's on the floor, you're searching for him. So just his presence on the floor, forget how many points, even though he did get 21, but he looked good. He was able to withstand a couple falls, some physical contact, played through it, never favored the foot. It looks really good. They waited. And took their time to bring him back. So, yeah. A little bit too, yeah.
At the end of the quarter.
Yeah.
Rolling the ankle.
Yes.
Scared us all. Didn't look good.
Yeah, it didn't look great. I was like, man, and he recovered. He came back into the game, got a layup. Glad they called the foul, by the way, because it was a foul. And it's different from last year or even the season before that where an injury puts you out for long periods of time, right? So he's just recovering quicker, which is a good sign.
Let me ask you this, Meta. How important was it for the Lakers and for AD to get a game under the belt before you go on that road trip? So your first game's not in Boston.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want your first game after a loss and you got to go on this long road trip against a really good team and a great rivalry. And I think he even said it. You know, I think it's great for him to get a win, close game. You know, and it was like a boring win, right? It's like up 10. That's exactly what they should have did.
Yeah, and James, listen, let's talk about the win. It wasn't the prettiest. It wasn't a blowout, but they did what they had to do to win. And like Meta said, extend and win that game by 9 points. But the fact that they got that win, got back on the winning ways before you head out on that trip, you get to 23 and 26. We all know where they are in the standings. Everyone's really jumbled up, but it's got to feel good. Also getting guys back, getting Rui in there. You know, Lonnie and Oster on the way back. All of a sudden, you're like, hey, this is a deep team.
Yeah, getting AD back, bringing in Rue, who I think is going to be an absolute major extra dimension for this team. Then they get 52 points off the bench. The bench has been providing a lot of play for them. 12 steals, 25 assists as a team. Those are things that, you look at to see if they are connected, and they are. Wasn't a pretty game. I think there was a lot of attention around, AD coming back, Rue, so they kind of had a slow start. And Popovich is a great coach. His guys are going to play hard, but when they needed to, they took care of business in the fourth quarter, and they got the win. They poured it on, hit some big threes themselves, like 3 in a row, in a timely fashion when they needed it to kind of put the game out of reach.
Yeah, I guess the 20 turnovers not their best outing, especially they've been really good in that department lately. Let's talk about Rui Hachimura, the newest Laker, hit his debut. I asked you, I said, what is it like when you put on that uniform and play? Because it's a little different than when you debut somewhere else. And you said it absolutely is. The bright lights, playing with LeBron James, playing at Crypto in front of all those fans, playing in a Laker uniform. I thought he looked pretty good. What about you, Meta?
Solid.
Yeah.
Just a really good, solid player. I didn't realize that his career is going so well. I mean, he's averaging 13 points in multiple years, big shoulders, not trying to do too much. Make the easy layup, make the easy jump shot, set a good screen, spot up. Don't do too much. You got LeBron out there. You got Westbrook out there. He's a perfect fit for this team.
Big game. We saw him take it to the rack. He had a dunk opportunity, missed it, but I love the way he took it. We saw him step into a three. We saw the mid-range that you talked about in the pregame show. He got to the free throw line. 12 points, 6 rebounds. What we noticed right away was the body, right? He's a big body, can switch on to people. There's that versatility that you need to see in terms of length, stretch the floor, but also in a broken down possession, he can make a bucket.
Yeah.
Right, from 15 feet, from 17 feet, he can get to a spot. It's huge.
Shot clock running down. If there's a loose ball or a broken play and he gets it with 4 seconds, he can find a way to get a bucket because he has that mid-range game. He can put the ball on the floor. And next to LeBron, his body is the best, biggest, strongest body for a wingman on the team. And you can tell that he can move defensive players around when he wants to get where he wants. I thought the rebounds was critical, 6 rebounds for him. I just like the fact that he's not afraid to go after his. A lot of players, when you play with superstars, multiple superstars, you have a tendency to defer. He's focused on the game only and takes what comes to him. I think it was a big trade for only second-round draft picks to get a player like him. I think it's going to be a big, major win for us.
James, I wanted to ask you this. When you saw Rui, AD, and LeBron on the court at the same time, did you like the way that fit, the way it looked?
I do. Yeah. I do, because you have size right there. You have 3 big players at each position. AD is center, LeBron, what he does. Then you bring another big who can play, 6'8", 6'9".
Yep.
Not to say that he can stop anybody, but I would have loved to see him in that Clipper game.
Yeah.
Play against some wings that are good and put his size in his body. And also, he's a threat. He can score. He can get you in foul trouble. So, yeah, it's going to be – Darwin's had some really good pickups. It's going to be interesting to see how he plays everybody. I mean, just think if Walker gets back, when Reeves gets back.
Yeah, Meta and I were talking about that.
It's going to be, you know, a coach's nightmare. I mean, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But satisfying minutes, you know, will be key.
Go
ahead, please, Meta.
No, I was going to say, you know, you can have so many different lineups. You can have AD with, I love big lineups, but AD with Thomas, LeBron, and you can sneak Rui in there a little bit if you have to for a couple minutes when you're going up against, you know, Paul George and Kawhi, and see how that works. You know, Darvin got a lot of options.
You know, one thing I love is that you see that they do have options now, because we bring up that Clipper team a lot because they have length all over the floor. That's how their roster's constructed. You know, you add Hachimura, you know, JTA, Wenyen Gabriel, you know, Troy Brown Jr., Max Christie, who we love defensively. Now all of a sudden you have some options at with length at the wing position, so that's good for the Lakers.
Yeah, I love it. Love it.
All right, let's hear from Darvin Ham. He's speaking with Mike in the media.